Happy Friday, everybody. Well, the sun went down and it's nice and dark out here in Northeastport, which is kind of cool. It's like being out in Mayaca, because you get to see a bunch of stars, but then there's a whole shit ton of houses. But since it's dark out, it should be pretty cool to set fire to Wilma. Playing the God of Hell fire tonight. But it's kind of easy. It's kind of fun, but just looks real pretty. So I got enough coats of paint onto it, spray paints, mostly metallic. Anyway, back. So when the metallics, when the heat reacts with them, I got to go just the right speed so I don't set fire to any of the plastics or the rubber seals. I know, you're insane, you can't do that. Well, I figured out this method with wood and with metal when I was doing artwork, giving things texture. And it works without setting fire to everything. Well, sometimes I set fire to stuff in the studio, but, you know, that's here nor there. So it's really kind of simple and it's a lot of fun. I'm just basically giving Wilma a branding. She's really not feeling too much pain. Only she hasn't bitched about it yet. Anyway, so you get to see that that's what that is. But then the wood at night's really cool because I'm going to set fire to the wood, sort of. Man, this thing's bouncing all over. So it's the same effect, but I got to step back, and all it does then when I set it on fire, well, just hold the heat. Then the only thing that burns is the rings, and nothing else on the wood. As long as I move it just the right speed, then you just heat up the wood too, and it'll start heating the sap in this pine. I'll back it off just a little bit. This was first started by the Japanese, and they still do it. I may get it wrong, but I think it's yeah, whatever. I'll have to look it up. But they've been doing this style of wood burning. It's been about 2,000 years, I guess. They started doing it, and it would strengthen the wood. And they would char it even harder and burn it really deep. I mean, to the point where the wood almost basically catches on fire, gets to the point, and then when they go back and sand it down, it basically becomes waterproof because they harden the wood so much, and it's just this hard charcoal, and they could build these buildings that still stand today with the wood being that burned. It's really kind of neat. It's just the chemical reaction with the fire and the fibers of the wood, and it's kind of cool. Same thing, it's like basically with the paint, you're burning just a tiny bit of it to pull out the chemical that's inside the wood and the paints, and using metallic paints, you know, a couple different layers of metallic paint really helps, and that reacts. And a lot of times this one didn't flame like sparkle, because a lot of times when you set fire to metallic paint, it'll just like spray off sparks, and it's kind of cool looking. But that's usually with like the metal flakes that are in some of the paints, but this still has it, the cheapo paints and cheapo spray paints do. And yeah, so, and I got all the rest of the pallets rebuilt. So each one of these is 2 feet tall. So I'm gonna have the grand total of 6'2" interior, which, you know, works out for me. And back here, this is going to get closed off with a little wall, and there's going to be a hatch door on the back, so I can come and go from the back end of it, which is a lot of fun. And I'm going to slap in a couple windows. There'll be a window here and another window on the other side, and then the other entrance is going to be going right through here. I got the roof cut off so that it's going to be quite accessible. It doesn't look like it, but, you know, I'm a tiny little hobbit dude, so it doesn't really matter. And that's what's happening on this so far. Hey, Christina, how you doing tonight? So that's what's going on with her now. And then what we're going to do is we're talking about as I'm working with Jake. Jake and his son James are giving me ideas and bouncing stuff off. We're gonna run 2x4s and some bracings, and then bring sheets of do a fiberglass roof on it. See how that goes. But then up on the roof area, the plan was to bring this section when it's up and then bring it down at an angle. So up inside of this area, gonna platform it with not my shitty roof job that I did. It's gonna be with a sheet of plywood and then sealed, and then put on, you know, some insulation and waterproof it. And then I'm gonna put up a generator and a battery, which will be hooked up to a second alternator inside the motor. I've never done it, looked it up a couple times so far, and since I don't have AC, I'm going to replace the AC compressor with another alternator. I'm not supposed to be able to charge the batteries that I have on the truck. I just got to figure out the thing. It looks really simple, but when you look at it up on YouTube, these dudes are doing some crazy shit. There was one old redneck boy that did it, and when he opened up the hood, he goes, "This is my rat box." And it was this piece of plywood that had, I don't know, 12 positive negatives all chained together, coming off and going back to an alternator that basically did what I figured it would. But that's the whole story at this point. I'm going to get back to setting Wilma on fire, and I will talk to you all later. I want you to have a good night, and remember, head on over to On the Road with Crazy Uncle Mark on YouTube and subscribe and hit the bell notification to get uploaded videos, because I'm going to be leaving Facebook and going directly to YouTube for longer videos. Alright, so much peace and love to you until next time. Have a safe and wonderful Friday.